We fall. No matter how carefully the thrusters fire, how precise the numbers, it still feels like falling. The land rises up to meet us. Red, broken, endless. My hands tighten against the harness. Not fear, discipline. I remind myself of the checklist. Stabilize descent, engage retro thrusters, monitor oxygen seals. Still, my pulse beats louder than the engines. We touch down. Harder than training. The cabin rattles, one of the side panels buckling with a scream of metal. Dust surges against the viewport, burying us in a storm of ochre. For a moment, Mars hides us from itself. Landing stable, Engineer Hino Satoshi calls, voice tight. His hands move across the console like he's chasing ghosts. Minor hull strain. Within acceptable limits. I don't believe him. The ship feels wounded, like something clawed at midair. When the storm clears, the ridge greets us. Black, jagged, impossible. It towers in the near distance, veins of metallic sheen running down its flanks like rivers frozen mid-flow. Not basalt. Not iron. Something else. Something that looks grown. Kawahara Mizuki mutters, "That's not in the survey maps." She presses her face close to the viewport, eyes reflecting silver streaks. Geology doesn't make that. She's wrong. Geology makes everything. Unless this isn't geology. We disembark. The ramp lowers with a groan, coughing dust into our lungs despite the filters. My boots sink deeper than expected. The ground isn't packed regolith, it shifts, pliant, like walking on compressed ash that remembers being fire. First step. The ceremony of it. Plant the flag. Photograph. A moment Earth will replay until it forgets the cost. But as I lift the flagpole, the dust beneath me shivers. Moves. Like breath under a sheet. Naoko. Hino's voice is sharp. Your boots look. I look. The imprint of my step is gone. Smoothed over even as I stand on it. The ground erases me. Just settling. I force the lie out, though my throat rebels. Different compaction than expected. We push forward. Toward the ridge. The wind rises. No, there is no wind here. The air is too thin. But still the dust moves. Swirls against our suits. Trails us clinging. Like it knows us. Nomura Haru, the linguist, slows his pace. He tilts his head, watching the dust eddy. It forms patterns, he says quietly. Repeating structures. Almost script. I don't let him finish. Not here. Not now. Then the ridge answers. A crack splits down its center with a sound like grinding teeth. Dust leaps from the ground in a wave. We stagger back as shards of black stone fall, ringing against our helmets. One bounces, rolls near me. I crouch to pick it up. It burns cold in my glove. Not stone. Not metal. Both. Neither. The veins inside it pulse faintly, silver threads alive. The ridge closes again, sealing itself as if it never moved. The silence that follows is worse than the noise. Our first hour on Mars, and the land already knows we are here. Static. Only when I face the ridge. Turn left, clear comms. Turn right, clear. Turn back to that jagged black horizon. Static hisses through the channel like breath through teeth. The others don't notice. They're too busy cataloging rocks, logging soil, staging their history-making photographs for Earth. I keep my helmet tilted, subtle. Testing angles. 15 degrees east, nothing. 20 degrees, buzzing in my ear. 30, louder, as though something there speaks in a tongue too high-pitched for language. I don't tell them. Not yet. Better to confirm. Better to be sure. In the dome that night, while the others sleep, I run diagnostics. I strip the comm array piece by piece, spread it across the workstation like an autopsy. Everything reads clean. No hardware error. No solar interference. No magnetic anomalies in the atmosphere. Nothing that explains the sound. So why do I still hear it? Whispers of code slip across the screen. Strings of data where none should be, repeating, shifting, refusing to stabilize. As if the ridge is pressing itself into our machines, leaving fingerprints. Don't tell them, I mutter. Not yet. Not until I know. The visor catches light. My reflection sharp in the glass, except it doesn't move when I do. I freeze. The shadow in the reflection tilts its head, but my neck stays stiff. For half a second I swear it grins. I tear the helmet off, breathing hard. Nothing there but my own sweat. Morning. We're outside again. Naoko directs survey teams, her voice clipped, crisp, commander clean. Mizuki kneels with her samples, whispering to herself about microbes that shouldn't exist. Haru sketches his phantom letters into a tablet like he's trying to remember a dream. I check the rover. Diagnostics again. Always diagnostics. Then the ridge moves. Not cracking this time. Not opening. Just folding. The black veins ripple like muscles flexing under skin. Dust sprays upward, not down, as if gravity itself bends wrong near it. My comm explodes into shrieks. Not static this time. Patterns. Tones, layered, rising and falling. Almost like laughter. Engineer Hino report. Naoko barks through the channel. Her voice cuts, jagged against the distortion. I try to answer. My throat locks. No words leave. Something in the sound presses into me, like invisible hands kneading the folds of my brain. Thoughts fracture. I drop my tablet, clutch my helmet. The rover lights flash in sequence. Not malfunction. Deliberate rhythm. The headlights stutter like Morse code, though none of us said it. A gust of dust slams into us, pelting suits. Mizuki screams. Her tether yanks tight, dragging her toward the ridge like the air itself is pulling her. Naoko lunges, grips her arm, boots digging into the erasing dust. I stumble forward to help, adrenaline snapping me free of the sound. Together we wrench Mizuki back. The ridge settles. Dust falls. The sound vanishes. My comm clears. As if nothing happened. No one else heard the whispers. No one else saw the lights flicker into code. Only me. So I say nothing. For now. Footsteps should stay. That's what I think when I open the dome flap in the morning and see nothing. Flat dust. Smooth as untouched snow. But we walked here yesterday. 6 of us, heavy boots dragging gear. We trampled this place like intruders always do. The prints should have lasted days. Weeks. Mars has no wind, not really. Not enough to erase us overnight. Still, gone. I crouch, glove hovering just above the surface. The soil trembles, faintly like a shiver. Strange compaction, Naoko said yesterday. She makes everything sound like physics. As if physics answers everything. It doesn't. I bring the samples inside. My workstation hums, familiar, grounding. Microscope lenses flare bright. I spread the grains across a slide, one careful brush at a time. At first, ordinary. Iron oxide dust, fine reddish, scattered. Then the shift. A tremor runs through the grains. Not vibration from the fan, not static cling. A pulse. They slide against one another, aligning in chains like iron filings drawn by an invisible magnet. Then the chains split, curl inward, twist until they form lattices. Symmetrical. Intentional. I lean closer. My breath fogs the lens. They realign again. Different pattern. Faster this time. Almost as if they're trying to decide which form to wear. A drop of condensation falls from my visor onto the slide. The grains react instantly, swarming toward the moisture, clustering, drinking it down. The water vanishes, wick it away. The grains swell, faintly translucent. I yank the slide back, nearly dropping it. The soil doesn't scatter like dust. It clings together. Like flesh. No, not like. Exactly like. I slam the cover over the sample, shove it into the containment drawer, lock it with trembling hands. Not for the others. Not yet. They'd only tell me it's contamination or equipment malfunction. I know what I saw. And it looked back at me. The dome shudders. A crash. Metal on metal. I whirl. The sealed drawer rattles, violently, as though something inside is pounding to get out. The latch groans. The sample case bulges. Not possible, I whisper, backing away. The bulge bursts open. Dust sprays across the lab like a wave. The particles whip into the air, coalescing mid-flight. Chains again, lattices, shifting too fast for my eyes to follow. Alarms shriek. Pressure warning. I slap the emergency seal on my helmet just as the airborne dust lashes toward the ventilation shaft. The particles don't drift. They move with force. A stream of them funnels upward into the ducts, vanishing into the dome's veins. Gone. The alarms stop. Silence. The case lies shattered. My workstation glistens with red residue. And when I turn toward the dome flap, the others' boots are still lined by the airlock, neat, heavy prints in the floor dust. But outside, when the flap lifts, the Martian surface is smooth again. Every trace of us erased. Not carvings. No tool made these. I tell them. Again and again. They nod, polite, the way people nod when they've stopped listening. But the lines on the ridge are not cracks, not erosion, not chance. They are script. No, not script. Something deeper. Script is static. These lines, they grow. I set the tablet on my knees, stylus scratching. The ridge hums faintly under the windless sky. My hands copy, over and over, shapes that twist like broken kanji. One mark resembles, old but then tilts, bends itself wrong, becomes something else. Another like life but stretched thin, an extra stroke that shouldn't exist. The ridge writes in a language I almost know, a language that remembers me better than I remember it. They change when I blink. I swear they do. Naoko insists they are shadows. Mizuki claims the dust is only confusing me. But I see it, strokes stretching, retracting, reforming. Living lines. I whisper them. Testing. My tongue wraps around the impossible syllables, fragments of sounds older than Japanese. The ridge answers. The surface ripples like water struck by a stone. Silver veins flare bright, liquid light crawling across its body. The hum becomes a vibration in my chest. Haru. Naoko's voice sharp in my calm. Step back now. I don't. Because it's writing back. The lines extend outward from where I spoke, curling across the rock face, forming new symbols faster than I can sketch. They're not random, they're responding. Call and response. The ground shakes. A slab of the ridge shears free with a deafening crack. Dust storms upward in a geyser. Fragments hurtle toward me. Instinct, drop flat, curl tight. A shard slams into the ground centimeters from my helmet, gouging the soil where my skull would have been. Naoko drags me by the harness, yelling curses. Mizuki rushes to cover the equipment. Alarms in our suits wail, structural stress detected, proximity hazard. But I keep staring. The fallen shard glows faintly. On its face, etched in liquid silver, is a perfect copy of the word I whispered aloud. Life. But altered. A stroke too long. A curve too sharp. Not my word. Not human anymore. I touch it, gloved fingers trembling. The surface is warm, pulsing. Like a throat. Like a voice waiting to be used. The lines crawl under my glove, searing against the material. For a second I hear words in my skull. We were never gone. I rip my hand back. Fall onto the dust that erases me even as I press against it. Not carvings. Not script. Something older. Something speaking through me. And I don't think it needs my permission to keep talking. The reports must sound calm. Habitat dome stable. Atmosphere processors within range. Minor strain along support joints. Normal, expected. I type the words, careful, precise. If Earth reads anything else, they will drown us in orders, questions, doubts. We don't have time for doubts. Delete last line. Replace with, crew morale high. That is a lie. Because the dome is cracking. It begins small. Hair-thin threads across the transparent walls. Too small for the sensors at first, but visible to the naked eye when the sun strikes at angle. Hino insists the data shows nothing unusual. Material stress always appears early, he says. It stabilizes. His words are firm, but his hands shake on the diagnostics board. Mizuki doesn't speak. She stares at the cracks too long as if waiting for them to spell something. Haru sketches the fractures in his tablet, mumbling that the patterns match the ridge markings. I forbid him to speak it aloud. The cracks spread faster than physics should allow. Stress propagation curves don't match. Every time we seal one with resin, 3 more spider outward on the opposite side. And last night, movement. Not expansion. Not collapse. Flexing. The cracks shifted place like veins under skin, reorienting themselves while we slept. I tell myself it's stress redistribution. My inner voice knows better. Because the fractures aren't attacking from outside. They're blooming from within. We're eating when the dome groans. The sound is deep, wet, as though the air itself is straining. Alarm shriek. Pressure drop warning. Seal breaches. I shout. Masks now. The crew scrambles. Helmets slam into place, locks hissing. My visor fogs with breath as I bolt for the wall. The cracks move. Right in front of me. Thin white lines stretch, curl, then rejoin, sketching shapes across the surface. Not random. Curves and angles forming patterns. Writing. Haru screams through calm, it's answering again. A fracture whips across the wall, splitting like lightning, racing toward the dome's apex. The structure groans, panels bending inward. Dust outside sprays upward against the dome. No wind, but still it moves, pressing from nowhere. The wall buckles. A fissure opens wide enough to fit my hand. Thin air whistles out in a high scream. I grab a resin injector, jam it into the gap. Foam floods, hissing. The wall resists, pushing back. My arm vibrates with the pressure as though the dome itself is trying to spit me out. Naoko. Mizuki's voice, she's holding another injector, her hands trembling. Together we drive resin into the spreading fissures, sealing as fast as we can. The dome roars. A sound from all directions, not steel, not plastic. Like lungs straining to breathe. Then silence. The fractures stop moving. For now. We collapse to the floor, helmets rattling, gasping air we no longer trust. Hino stares at the panels, pale. It's not pressure stress, he whispers. It's growth. The material's being rewritten from the inside. The dome holds, but the walls are no longer ours. Storm again. They call it dust, but dust doesn't move like this. Dust doesn't howl. Dust doesn't scrape against your helmet like claws. Naoko says stay inside, conserve oxygen. She says the storm will pass. She doesn't hear the sound beneath the storm. A rhythm buried low, pulsing. I volunteer inspection. They don't argue. Maybe they want me gone. Outside. Visibility, 0. My lamp cuts a tunnel through red. Shapes coil and uncoil at the edges. Not rocks. Too tall. Calm static gnaws at me again. The ridge direction, always worse when I face it. I turn left, static fades. Right, louder. Straight ahead, unbearable. The sound eats into my skull. Diagnostics, I remind myself. Check structural anchor, measure wind shear. Numbers, numbers. Numbers keep me human. My shadow stretches ahead, sharp in the dust glare. Then another shadow joins it. Taller. Wrong proportions. I spin. Nothing there. The shadow remains. It bends its head, but I do not. It raises an arm, but my arm is still. Not reflection. Not mine. The wind slams me sideways. I stagger, boots sliding across dust that erases me even as I move. I dig anchors, lock into place. My HUD flashes warnings, suit strain, oxygen spike. Behind me, movement. Not seen. Felt. Pressure on my backplate, a weight. Like someone leaning close, mouth to helmet, whispering. I swing the lamp. Light catches a silhouette just outside range. Too tall. Limbs jointed wrong. It ripples when it moves like liquid held in shape. My comm erupts, shrill, layered voices. A dozen, all speaking over each other. Not words. Tones. A code I almost understand. Almost. Base, do you see this? I shout, but the channel only feeds back my own voice, delayed, distorted, repeating. The shadow steps closer. His legs bend backward, then forward, then sideways. As if deciding which form to use. I stumble back. My tether line strains against the anchor. Naoko. I scream. Mizuki. Aro. Anyone. The tether snaps. I fall into red. Dust fills my visor, impossible, seeping through seals. I choke, though the filters hold. My helmet readout spikes error after error, screen stuttering. The shadow leans down. It stretches too far, neck bending in an arc that should break bones. Its face, no face. A hollow curve. My own reflection stares back at me, but the mouth smiles. Blackout. Glitch. Playback corrupt. Later, when they find the helmet, it is half buried in dust. The storm has passed. My body is gone. Footage plays on loop. The light flickers. The silhouette flickers with it. Taller. Fluid. And at the end, before the feed cuts, the shadow raises a hand. My hand. The soil is not soil. That's the truth no one wants to say out loud. Not Naoko with her clean reports. Not Haru with his words that don't belong. Not Hino, he's gone, erased. So I will say it. The soil is not soil. Under the microscope, the grains are not particles. They are filaments. Transparent, flexible, intertwining like nerves pulled from a spine. When I touch them with the probe, they pulse. Not random. Not chemical. A rhythm. Heartbeat. Contact jolts through me. Not sight. Not sound. Something deeper. My mind folds open and I walk, but not as myself. My legs are longer, thinner, bent like stalks. My hands are four-jointed, delicate. I walk a plane that is not red but green, covered in life that should not exist here. Ocean shimmer. The ridge is smaller than, younger, breathing in time with the sky. Around me, others walk. My people. Not human. Taller, luminous, woven with threads of light. They shape the land with gestures, pulling filaments from the ground and weaving them into structures that hum when touched. Alive. All of it alive. Then, darkness. The sky cracks. Something vast descends, faceless. The oceans boil away. The ridge trembles, screaming without sound. One by one, my people fall, their threads unraveling into dust. Erased. I am left alone. I slam back into myself. The probe clatters to the floor. My hands shake. Naoko's voice sharp. Mizuki. What happened? I try to answer. My mouth won't obey. Words scrape out, not Japanese. Sounds like stone grinding on stone. The soil pulses harder in the dish. Filaments rise, stretching toward my fingers. I can't stop. I plunge my hand into them. Agony. They coil up my arm, burrow under the glove seal, threading across my skin like veins. My muscles seize, my body jerks. Naoko lunges, trying to yank me free. The filaments lash outward, striking her visor, leaving glowing cracks that pulse like veins across the glass. Haru screams. The lab shakes. The ridge hums outside, answering. I stagger forward, half controlled, half me. My arm moves without command. I slam my palm against the dome wall. The fractures inside bloom, glowing, forming symbols identical to Haru's sketches. The dome groans, panels bowing inward. Air hisses. Hold her. Naoko shouts. Hands grip me from behind, Naoko and Haru together. They drag me back, wrench my arm away. The filaments tear free in wet strands, spraying dust that writhes midair before scattering. I collapse to the floor, gasping inside my helmet, body shuddering. The dish lies shattered. The filaments have gone to dust again. Ordinary, inert. As if they never lived. But my veins glow faintly beneath my skin. And in my skull, another voice whispers memories that are not mine. The ridge breathes. Not air. Not wind. But vibration, subtle at first, thrumming through my boots, up my spine. The walls hum like stretched strings, the kind that hold sound inside forever. Do you hear it? I whisper, though Naoko and Mizuki are already scanning. The hum rises, folds into itself, answering my tone. The patterns shift. Not carvings. Not static. They grow. A stroke here, a curl there, responding to my speech in Japanese. It recognizes language. Naoko stiffens behind me. I glance back. Her reflection in the black vein walls moves, but wrong. Slight delay. Her smile curves before hers does. Her blink lags. She studies us as though we are food. I shiver. We enter deeper. The corridor twists. Dustless, smooth, yet something drips faint light from the ceiling, like the ridge bleeds silver. Every step echoes differently, multiplied and stretched, as though the cave itself is speaking our names. Patterns, I murmur, stylus scratching against tablet. They form in response. They answer. Naoko grips my shoulder. Keep moving. Stay close. A panel of black stone shivers. Not cracking. Flexing. My lamp catches movement. A shadow, fluid, too tall, limbs bending impossible ways. It flickers out of view when I look directly. The walls pulse. Lines writhe toward me, extending like fingers. I whisper a phrase from the ridge markings. The script ripples in reply, silver threads crawling along the walls. Then the floor trembles. A section ahead splits open. Dust geysers. Not wind. Pressure. Something pushes from beneath, lifting shards of rock. Mizuki screams as one chunk slams near her, spraying fine dust like needles. Back. Back. Naoko shouts. I try to retreat, but the floor under me pulses. The ridge moves. Not stone, not metal. Soft, flexible, living. Every step feels like sinking into water, yet too solid to escape. My tablet flickers. Code, not Japanese, not any language I know. The script on the walls reacts, stretching, shaping itself into letters I almost recognize. My pulse spikes. A reflection rises behind me. Naoko's face, but hollow, teeth showing, eyes sharper. It lunges. My vision wavers. My hand jerks and I nearly drop the stylus. Stand still. Naoko commands. Her real self pulls me away, dragging me toward the exit corridor that wasn't there when we entered. The hum intensifies. It vibrates through my chest. My chest, not mine. I stumble, feeling as though the ridge is inside me now. I whisper again. The walls respond with a scream of vibration, the ridge flexing. Dust and shards rain. Mizuki grabs my arm, pulling. Naoko yanks at my shoulder. The floor shakes underfoot. I step wrong. My boot slides on the flexible stone. I fall forward. My lamp swings wildly. The script lashes toward me, not with words but light, striking my helmet, making the visor flicker. For a heartbeat I see it. Dozens of reflections, each one a different possibility, studying, deciding, consuming. I roll. My body hits the wall. My stylus skitters out of reach. I drag myself back toward the exit, toward Naoko and Mizuki, toward the faint promise of safety. The ridge hums louder. Waiting. Watching. Learning. Not Hino. Not all of him. The ridge absorbs light, hums deep in the chest. We enter the core. Walls pulse silver, veins of living rock crawling like nerves. Dust drifts in patterns, shifting with our steps. Then we see him. Half mineral, half flesh. Veins of black stone braid across his arms and chest. His skin glimmers red, not warm, not cold, wrong. He kneels, shaking, bones elongating under the overlay. Eyes wide, still human beneath the architecture of the ridge. Part of the archive, he says. No words. Quartz. Dissonant. Layered. Reverberating through the walls. My helmet vibrates with each syllable. My chest hurts. Naoko, Mizuki whispers. Her hand hovers over his shoulder. He flinches. I reach forward. He screams, human terror rising through the alien chords. The walls echo it, amplify it. Every echo twists it further until the sound is no longer his. A scream in shapes and frequencies our ears barely recognize. End it, he gasps. Please, make it stop. The floor shifts. Not falling, not floating, writhing. Veins in the stone sprout, lash out, weaving around our legs trying to pull us into the lattice. I fire the tether anchors, slam them into place. Mizuki grips mine, Haru's arms around the edges. He tries to lift his hands. Stone spikes curl around them, following the chord of his voice. The archive is singing. Learning. It wants to fold him into the walls, bone by bone, voice by voice. I raise my plasma cutter. Sparks hiss. Hino flinches. No, he cries. Dissonant chords shiver into the walls. A shard of black stone erupts from the lattice, aimed for my helmet. I duck. Sparks fly. Haru stumbles, catching himself on the vein-pulsing wall. The floor twists beneath him like water. Help me stabilize him. Naoko shouts. We grip his shoulders, push against the lattice of veins and filaments. He thrashes, screaming chords layered over human words. Kill me, stop, please, no. The archive pushes, bending the floor, lifting fragments, pulling at his consciousness. His eyes are still Hino, pleading, terrified, screaming under alien logic. I jam the plasma cutter at a vein near his chest. The black stone smokes. He arches backward, convulses. The lattice recoils. The cords warp into a high wail, scattering in the air like shards of glass. For a heartbeat, silence. Hino slumps. Still alive, still human enough for me to see terror glinting in his eyes. The ridge hums low, digesting. Waiting. We pull him toward the exit. His body groans, stone creaking, flesh trembling. Every step is resistance. Every heartbeat is a negotiation with the ridge. He mutters, barely human, barely Hino. I am the archive now, but I remember. I grip his arm tighter. You're still here. You're still you. The ridge quivers behind us. Shadows ripple along the walls like hands reaching for what escapes. We run. And I know, even as we move, that Hino's voice, his chords, will echo in the ridge long after we leave. Alone. The hum of the ridge follows me into the dome. The fractures, now sealed, still pulse faintly, like a heartbeat caught in glass. Hino, gone. Mizuki, Haru, shadows of them remain, their minds touched, rewritten. I record this log. Mars is not dead. Never was. It is a vessel. A library. An intelligence. Slow, patient, indifferent. But when we arrived, just stepping onto its skin, it moved. Reflexes old as eons. It reads, absorbs, rewrites. I look at the ridge from the dome's viewport. The black veins ripple like blood. Every fracture we patched, every light we lit, every word we spoke, stored, catalogued. The dome shudders. Not from wind. Not from quake. But the archive testing. Probing. Perhaps remembering Hino's voice, perhaps ours. The walls stretch inward. Cracks bloom anew along resin seams. Dust lifts in silent storms inside the dome. I run through the corridors, boots clattering against trembling panels. The alarms scream pressure anomalies. Filaments of dust, flickering silver, whip across the walls, living, sentient, tangling in the air. Mizuki's samples, shattered and forgotten, coil along the floor, pulsing faintly with memory. They lift briefly, following my movement, brushing against my gloves like curious fingers. Control, this is Naoko, I whisper into the calm static answers. The archive listens, learning but does not respond. I grab the portable transmitter. Earth waits, unaware. My hand hovers above the send button. I know the words will reach nothing if the archive intercepts, reshapes, or erases them. Outside, the ridge trembles. Veins ripple. Shadows move along the walls. I step closer. They do not obey physics. One swirls upward like smoke, flickers into my reflection in the viewport. My own face warped, staring back. My pulse races. I press my hand to the console. The recorder hums. I speak aloud. We thought we were first. We were only the next layer. The words fracture mid-syllable. The dome quakes. Resin panels splinter. Dust storms swirl through the habitat like liquid, tangling in the airlocks. I fire the emergency release, sprint toward the airlock. Filaments strike, wrapping, pulling, tugging at my suit. My boots slide across the flexible flooring, the ridge beneath us alive, resisting escape. I leap. Airlock doors grind. Sparks. My gloves catch on the frame. A shard of reflective black stone slashes across my helmet. Outside. The red dust bites. My thrusters fire. I pull free. The dome collapses behind me in slow-motion ruin. Veins twist and coil, the ridge itself breathing. The archive does not chase, it watches, patient. Its memory holds us, our fear, our bodies, our voices. I record the final log, trembling. Mars remembers. It waits. We leave only fragments. And perhaps, we are only the next layer in a memory too vast for us to hold. I hesitate. The send button hovers beneath my finger. For a heartbeat, I wonder if it should go, if Earth deserves to know, if knowing would matter. Then the ridge pulses faintly in the distance, black veins glowing silver in the dying sun. I press record one last time. Months later. Earth celebrates a milestone. First Japanese-led crew lands on Mars. Broadcasts show dust storms, red horizons, smiling astronauts. They do not show the ridge. They do not show the black veins. They do not show the fragments of memory left behind. I am on Mars, somewhere outside the last habdome. Alone, or so it seems. Naoko's final logs are in the system, partially corrupted. Hino's chords echo in the static, a hum beneath the wind. Mizuki and Haru are back on Earth, physically intact, but something in their eyes flickers, like a shadow caught in sunlight. The ridge stands, watching, patient. Dust drifts across its surface, moving subtly, shaping itself like fingers. The archive catalogs, absorbs, reshapes. The soil pulses faintly, sending threads of memory outward, brushing against the minds of those who remain. I step closer. The wind bites, but not like wind, it flows along the contours of veins, alive. A shadow stretches just beyond sight, fluid, tall, aware. It does not chase. It does not flee. It waits. In the distance, Earth's transmissions chatter through my comm, full of excitement, reports, joy. I hesitate to reply. One word, one sentence, and the archive may reach further. The red landscape stretches endlessly. Every grain of dust remembers. Every shadow waits. And somewhere deep in the ridge, I feel Hino's presence. Not him, not human, not fully part of Mars, but catalogued. Echoes of Mizuki, Haru, even myself may yet linger, threaded through filaments we cannot see. We thought we were first. We were only another layer. The red horizon shifts. Veins pulse faintly in the sunlight. And Mars waits.